You can, you don't have to vote for the recall. You don't have to vote on the recall at all anyway. And you can still vote for a candidate to replace Newsome.
Right. Oh,
Um,
did I hear that right? I'm sorry to interrupt. I hear, so you don't have to necessarily vote yes or no on recall, and you can still vote for a candidate.
That's right. Yeah, and that's important because we're trying to get a big, and that's the third thing is there's a green candidate. There are two green candidates on the
Three?
recall. I thought it was two, but
Okay.
the one that people are rallying around is Kapolovitz or whatever his name is.
Mhm.
And he's actually done a reasonable job. He has a website. He has stuff that's on his website. You know, he's the most visible candidate, and I certainly intend to vote for him. Now, the state party is planning to have an online vote on endorsing him. The state party is planning, although its time is getting very short to do this because the ballots are already out. I was talking to a comrade in San Francisco, and she's already gotten her ballot. You too? Well, that's so I think we've waited too long for this, but in any case,
Others got his too already.
it's I'm hoping that people will vote for Kapelowitz, and that's all there is to say about it.
I have Dale and then Orlando on stack. Dale?
I have a question about the mechanics of the recall election. Why does the Democratic Party now say that they're urging obviously to vote no on the recall, but then to ignore and abstain from voting for anybody, that somehow works to their advantage? How does it work to their advantage? Could you explain that to me?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me, but
right, it makes no sense to me either, because this is the most it's just the popular any highest vote wins, right? So you can win with 10%.
Right, any highest vote wins. You could if you get 10% of the vote, that's the highest. That's the highest on the shared vote. You're in. If Newsome is recalled.
Incredible.
And then Orlando, you're on stack.
Yeah, I've been talking to a few of my friends about this recall and so forth, and they Greens. We came up with a conclusion. Why we just don't focus on green agendas and focus on how we can build locally, and whatever is going naturally, it really don't have an impact for locally because you already had a national group to take care of it. So when we take energy and get involved into situations like a recall, even though it's our protocol, what does it leave us as Greens locally to move forward in trying to get a candidate? So our thing is we trying to come up with, in the hip hop community, is how we could formulate individuals to come to the Greens, but not for money, not for status, not coming on here just for BS, but a lot of those questions, they remain like, hey man, y'all focus on these other groups, like the female, no disrespect, that's running for Congress. It's like the Greens is focused on this lady, but what about focusing their attention on the local candidate? You got Vicente. A lot of my friends know Vicente, because we social media. And they be like, damn, I see them posting Gail McLaughlin and all these other people. Why they not promoting Vicente? Or why they not promoting Don? Or what is the county council board is doing? And I'm like, hey, only thing I can do is do my part. So my whole agenda, not me and Vicente talked, and I talked to Greg Michael years ago, my focus is just the Greens. How can we build? I don't really care about the Democrats and who gonna win. How can we continue to keep winning and stop being used as a broom? They know they need the green votes. That's period. They're gonna use us as a mockery, then blame us like they do every election. But I'm saying as for Oakland, they come use all our resources, all our benefits. Even if they don't come to our Zoom meetings, they copy our Oakland Greens agenda. And you take out the key points, and I go to a lot of these Democratic Zoom meetings because they're my friends. And I say, y'all using the green agenda. Y'all taking everything that we're saying. Y'all taking everything Vicente's saying and using it in a different format. If you look at any of the Democratic groups, they're trying to get people from other countries, other coasts. They're trying to talk to prominent. Look at it. I know who's running for mayor this year. I mean, just between us, I know who's running for mayor. I know who's running for council. I know who's running for district attorney. I know why they got the black man that's going to run for district attorney. So I know all these individuals that share this information. So for me as a Green to not be biased, I'm like, man, let's focus on our movement. Let's get behind Vicente. He a voice. He got it. More African Americans is going to gravitate to Vicente than anybody else in the group. So that's just my opinion. Let's get around our group and build and let them do what they do. And I'm good with it. But that's just my opinion.
I'm gonna call myself and then Jan and Michael are in stack after. So this argument, the debate that you're talking about, Orlando, Michael and myself have had with the county forever. I often make the joke, especially when it comes around money for producing all of the voter guides that we produce. I was like, oh, well, we could save tons of money if we just put a big no on the fucking front and go, we're tired of the two-party system. What has it done? And have more articles and teaching articles about why you should join an alternative party and specifically the county green. I also have been always focused on more local elections lately. With that said, I will say in something like this, the recall, and I'm also trying to push Rosa in New York, since he resigned too, is the fact that because it's such a shit show, and you have like millions of, like literally, we just said it in just the off recording chat, 10% of the fucking vote you win. I was like, that gives an alternative party a real chance if, and this is what I don't think that they're going to do, oh, Bill's coming in, is to really, again, we say it all the time, we use it in our literature, navigating this corrupt capitalist system. We are where we are. This is the river that we have. Are you going to navigate it or are you going to try to fight it, right? The Mayans tell us like fighting the river is just a bad idea. The river knows where it's going, fucking you just got to navigate it. So we have to navigate this corrupt capitalist system. And if they throw a staff and the funding behind it, we could get a green governor for the largest fucking state in the whole country. It would be incredible. New York too. Imagine 2 green candidates. And it is an opportunity. I don't think they're going to do it. I haven't seen it in any of the emails and meetings and stuff I go to because nobody talks about that, right? And that is, it goes into another thing. I don't think that we're radical enough, right? Oakland, we are, right? Everything coming out of this side, everything that I put forth in the trifolds and all this stuff is a larger, more in your face, or I like to say a more of a fuck you, like a Tupac, right? Put up your fingers type of situations of this is the fucking foundation of everything that's going on, right? You really want this change? We need to change it. Here it is. Here's a policy. And you're not going to get it until you get the people before profit candidates. So that's why I do feel that in this situation, you get a chance to win. Me personally, and in Oakland Greens, and I don't even think the county, but I know we didn't even take a position on the recall. We didn't even fuck with it. Me, myself, and talking to also other Greens too, the only reason I was trying to go to foundation, why I was saying no recall, just because it's a waste of resources. There's another election coming up. But it looks like it's going to go through because still, all of those, 70 million people that voted for Trump, they're still out there, right? And a lot of them live in California. I'm having an online debate with Trumpers. It's about vaccines and mandates and things like that. But still, we're up in Reading, right? All of Reading. That is all Trump country. Orville, weed, just all that shit, right? Just too much. So I think that we have to, if we have the situation, you get in it, but I don't think they're going to put the resources. Here in Oakland, we haven't taken a position. I am voting no, and then I will support the Green candidate. And I want to make sure, and when you're on Stack next, I'm done. On Stack, Michael, make sure that we get that name in the minutes so I can remember, because I know there is at least 2 candidates, and I want to make sure whichever one we're supporting, I make sure I vote for. Thanks.
Okay.
Michael.
I just want to respond to Orlando a bit. I think that it's important to have a Green candidate in this thing. It's not. I'm glad Greens are running to replace Newsome. I don't think we're going to win, but what's different about this is we're getting the people are paying attention to this, and there's someone with a green after his name is running, and that's, I mean, because of top 2, this limits our opportunity to have someone at a time when people are paying attention, to have someone running who's got a green after his name or her name. And that's, to me, is what's important about this. I think that we should be pushing, people to vote green, regardless of I don't care how they feel about the recall. I was leaning towards voting for it because I like to kick the Democrats in the teeth, but I think I'm changing my mind. I think I'm going to abstain on the recall. I don't see any point in saving Newsome. But I also don't want to because it becomes a partisan. I don't want to give aid and comfort to the Republicans. So what I think I'm going to do is to abstain on the recall itself, and vote for the Green candidate.
Yeah.
And I think that we should have something on the website to that effect. It's what I think at this point is, regardless of what you think about the recall, please vote for Green candidates.
And
I think the more people who vote for Green candidates, the more attention will get paid to the party, and that will work. That only works to our advantage. Over.
it is. And I see Bill, you're next on Stack, please.
Yes, I think that, as Michael said, regardless of the stand on the process of the recall, what we have to do, even with our limited resources, is to say this is not a matter of an individual, even though it is a matter of principle that we perhaps should mention, that we believe this not just in exceptional cases, but the history of the left has been such that we have stood for the right of people to recall any and all elected folks. And this, even if we may know how partisan the Republicans are to this, it's not because we oppose it in principle. But I think the bigger issue is saying that this is, reflects a failure of the whole, 2 capitalist parties. And to the extent that people are disgruntled and wish to take it out on the face that happens to occupy the governor's mansion right now, the real dissatisfaction is with, the issues that have been grinding people down around, health, around housing, around jobs, that are not really getting debated or discussed at all in this process. At most, the Republicans are chanting about reopen, the economy, etc. But beyond that, you hear very little in terms of real analysis of what's happening. So to the extent we can use this in some way, even if it's modest, I think we need to, and not get caught up in, in the fact that this is a reactionary plot. Yes, we detest, a lot of the people who are, using this for ways that we know are destructive and counterproductive, but we need to go beyond that. So, thanks.